All right, 1 2 1 2 in the place to be. How y'all doing out there? Frank Red back at it for another edition of the In the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me in conversation and for your insights. I really appreciate it. A lot to talk about as we get together. The NBA is on a respite because the Olympics is taking place. A lot of interesting and exciting stories are really starting to unfold. The men's basketball team, I think, lowered the blood pressures of a lot of basketball fans out there by throttling what is a really good Serbian team, 110-84. And we're going to get into that because I'm old enough to have seen the Dream Team in '92. I know there's this back and forth about who's better and this and that. And it's just good fun because anybody who has an opinion, it's really not going to change their opinion for a lot of different reasons. But let me say this. I've been at the stage where if somebody wanted to tell me that LeBron James is the greatest player who's ever played the game of basketball, I don't argue with them. You know, I might present my case and they present their case, but I don't argue with them because there's a good case to be made for that. All right. What this man is doing at 40, he's on the cusp of 40, is unbelievable. And he is the best player on the men's Olympic team, in my opinion. I think Steve Kerr would, when nobody's watching, would probably say the same thing. Kevin Durant, wow. Y'all must have forgot, all right? Y'all must have forgot. Even myself, I got to slap myself and say, yo, Red, this dude is Kevin Durant. This is not hyperbole. You're talking about one of the greatest Olympic performances in the history of the Olympics. 8 for 8 in the second half. In the first half, 8 for 8, 21 points. And what did he play? 13 minutes? And he picked up the USA team when they were reeling. The greatness of LeBron James also is when things were out of hand. Serbia was up 10-2. And it was not looking good. Steve Kerr calls timeout. And all of a sudden, LeBron, he didn't have to say anything, but his presence speaks loudly. And he just kind of calmed things down. And Stephen Curry was a part of that as well. But it was LeBron's presence out there to just calm things down. We're going to get into that game because it was monumental. I think, USA was obviously favored to win it, but this was a big-time game. And a lot of fun to watch. I actually watched the game on the plane. I was traveling back from the East Coast. So this afternoon, I got me about 4 or 5 hours in, and I was so tired. And I didn't go to bed last night, but I was like, I got to do a show because we as sports fans deserve it to be in conversation with what we've seen. This is special. This is not just some run-of-the-mill qualifying game. No, this is a big-time game. So if you're a fan of basketball, if you take great pride and appreciation in watching some of these all-time great players, you have a place to share your thoughts about that. All right, and I'm a big-time Stephen Curry fan also, and a lot of people who look at Stephen Curry with this, this pleasant smile and dripping with humanity. This guy is a tough player. He's one of the toughest players of his era. He scored maybe 10, 11 points today, but it was the physicality by which he brought to the game today that really helped USA. The picks that he was setting was reminiscent of John Stockton. And that's how tough Stephen is. He doesn't get enough credit for that. Stephen hasn't set picks like that in about 4 or 5 years. He was awesome. I also wanted to touch on this, and I'm gonna let it go. But there's a lot of people on the internet, these Warrior fans, oh, Larry marketing, we need Larry, we're gonna trade. I was like, yo, you know what? I take great solace in the fact that the Warriors owner actually knows basketball. He knows something about basketball. And I'm sure he's looking at the same thing I'm looking at with regards to Larry marketing, excuse me. Nice player, talented guy, 7-footer, is going to put some stats up. But would you sell the farm for this guy? You know, no, you would not. No, if you're smart, you would not. I would give Utah a player and maybe a pick or two. That's it. That's it. And it's not going to be the players that they necessarily want. It's going to be the players that I respect and I think, okay, well, I got to do a trade. I'm not giving up Podzinski. If that's the guy who I want in my organization, I'm not giving him up. I'm not giving up Kuminga. You know, so, and also from a fan's perspective, it's not the organization's responsibility to stack the deck. It's nice when you can go out and get a Kevin Durant because he wants to be there. But your job is to make sure that the team is competitive. The Warriors are competitive. The Warriors are competitive. Do they have the best roster? No, they don't. Are they competitive? Yes. When are you going to give a player like Jonathan Kuminga a real chance? Okay, you don't want to pay him? Give him a chance to show you that he deserves a big-time contract. Most of the guys who've gotten paid play heavy minutes. Scotty Barnes, right? Players like that. This is Jonathan Kuminga's opportunity. Play him 37, 38 minutes a game. I'm a big believer in improving from the inside. Trace Jackson Davis, based off that guy's rookie year, you would think that his numbers would ascend. The Warriors have a competitive team. I think that they're one of the 6 best teams in the Western Conference. If you're 6, you're fine. If you're 6, you're fine. That means you're playing the 3rd seed. So let's stop it. I mean, unless I don't know anything about basketball, this Larry marketing stuff is crazy. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and tell you I'm the best, the biggest San Francisco Giant fan, because I'm not. I like the Giants. I was a bigger A's fan, but because I'm a sportsman, because I love sports, because I played baseball, a lot of the complaining and the nagging, well, we want to fire Farhan. He just, you know, hey, listen, man. When the season started, I think most smart baseball people who are a lot more informed than I am had the Giants winning somewhere between 81 and 86 games, which should get you into the wild card. The St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series by winning 86 games. Now, the Giants are 53 and 55. They won 4 straight. They could fall on their face, and this conversation could be moot. But as a sports fan, I appreciate how they grind, man. Blake Snell is looking like the guy who the Giants thought they were signing. I'm a big-time Blake Snell guy because he didn't fall apart. He rallied. He stuck with it. And now he's playing some good baseball. This team is playing gritty baseball. I'm saying as a fan, as a lifelong Met fan, get behind the team. Giant fans, stop complaining and get behind the team. I know it's frustrating because they're not all that talented. They're just not. I'm going to talk a little hip hop at the end of the show as well, because last week I talked about a rapper who I think has the opportunity to really ascend and take it to that next level, that being Corday. And ironically, just comes out with a single this week called Saturday Morning with Lil Wayne that is fire. That's the type of hip hop that I like. It's a great record. It really is. And Cordae is a really talented rapper, somebody who I can really get behind. All right. SG says, hi, Frank. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you, man. Keys. What's up, Keys? What's up, Frank? KD was amazing, and LeBron is Captain America for us, isn't he? Listen, let me say this about LeBron. I'm having more fun watching LeBron James play basketball now than I ever have in his career. Is he as fast? Does he jump as high? No, none of that. But his leadership skills are 10 times better. His ability to deal with adversity is significantly better. And I like this, this elder statesman role that he's taken on with our younger players. It's awesome to watch, to be quite honest with you. And here's the deal. There's a lot of people who don't like JJ Redick. I get it. His arrogance sometimes besieges the fact that he could be a pretty cool guy if you get to know him. I don't know if he's admitted or not, but he has kind of this arrogant persona. He does. Didn't quote pay his dues. How? And sometimes you don't have to pay your dues. That's how society is. But there's no doubt in my mind that in terms of articulating an offense or helping guys get better, I think he could do a better job than Darvin Ham right now. Does that mean Darvin Ham should have been fired? No, it does not. Does it mean Darvin Ham is not a good coach? No. I think he's a developing coach, and he proved that. So life sucks. But I think with JJ Redick as the coach, the LA Lakers going on the premise that LeBron continues to play at his level along with AD, they're in a better situation to compete in the playoffs. I believe that. Personally, I can give you 19 reasons why I feel that way. When one of your players, Anthony Davis, comes out and says, well, we didn't know what we were doing, that's an indictment on the coach. I hate that Anthony said that. I wish you would have said that in private, because it really it didn't make Darvin Ham's plight any easier. But I think he was probably on to something there. The Lakers are going to be far more efficient offensively this year. They got Dalton Knecht. Some of the younger guys were hurt. So I'm looking for a big year from LeBron, basically. Kurt said he felt like an idiot not playing Tatum, who carries KD. Who cares? KD took his minutes with trying to win, not make everyone happy. 10-man rotation is more than enough. Tatum didn't play because KD, LeBron, Booker. Keith, I think you were making a case for Tatum to get in the game. And it was funny because I was thinking about that before I came on air now, because it takes me back to, I've been a head coach at 4 different high schools. And the third high school that I was a head coach at, I usually give my stories at the end of the show, but let me try to be quick and concise. I took over as a head coach of this pretty exclusive private school. 50 racks a year, all right? So that kind of gives you a scope of what kind of school it was. I love the school. I love the kids. The guy who hired me told me that last year, the previous year, they were 3-24, all right? The players told me that the coach used to coach on a chair, didn't even get up. The first year that I coached the team, I think we won 4 or 5 games. We were like 5-20, right? We did not win a league game. 0 and like 6, 0 and like 14 or something like that. We had a chance to win the last game of the year against a team that was not very good, and we lost in overtime. The second year, we were close to 500. In the third year, we were in NCS. We made the playoffs for the first time in the school's history, in the 10-year history. There was a player on my team, I'm not gonna mention his name, but a real hustler. I love this kid. He gave me everything. But we were playing in a game that we had to win. And this player had a propensity to turn the ball over. We were playing on the road during their homecoming event. Make a long story short, we won the game. I didn't put this guy in the game. He was my sixth man, and I didn't put him in because I couldn't afford to have him make a crucial turnover. The next day at practice, I was effusive in my expression of love and respect for him. He got it, and I said, from now on, you're gonna play in every game. And he played in every game after that. But there was one game in which he did not play because I couldn't stretch the rotation that much. He's my sixth man. That's what Steve Kerr was dealing with on a much, much, much larger scale than I could ever think of being on. But I respect Kerr because he actually talked to him before the game. And the game is 8 minutes shorter. The game's totally different. If you're going to play KD and give KD an opportunity to warm up, somebody's not going to play. Halliburton's not playing. Why? Because he turns the ball over. That's why he's not playing. So I actually think this is one of Kerr's greatest moments as a coach. I do. I think he was outstanding. This could have been all bad. Remember in the World Cup when they didn't really have the character of players, in my opinion, and I could name some names? This group hung together. They went out and did what they're supposed to do. Give Steve Kerr credit for that. Who would you rather have, Anthony Davis or Embiid, please? These Olympic Games reminded me of what kind of force he is on the defensive end. You know what? I'm glad Embiid made a couple of plays because it was getting laughable, man. It was becoming laughable. If I'm Nick Nurse, if I'm Paul George, if I'm Tyrese Maxey, I'm like, I mean, Embiid is one of the more talented players ever to play basketball. But does he look like he's trying? Does he look like he's in shape? I mean, I'm not going to rake the guy over the coals, but gosh, dude. It is, I mean, the team is decidedly better when he's not on the court. And he made a couple of plays today, offensively. But defensively, he's a mess. An absolute mess. LeBron James plays defensive center against good players, better than Embiid, better than Joel Embiid. Bam Adebayo played better defensively, and certainly Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, to me, quietly, look out, man. This dude is a good player, and it took him a couple of years to kind of understand what LeBron was talking about. But this dude was playing in his prime, man. In his prime. And not only that, Anthony Davis has the look of a great teammate. He's not bitching and moaning because he's not starting when everybody knows he should be starting. Anthony Davis being the force as my pick over Embiid. Yeah, you know what? But I mean, you're absolutely right. The thing is, and it goes back to Jaylen Brown talking about why he's not on the team. Politics matter. I mean, come on, y'all. Let's stop it. The world is filled with politics. And not playing or burying Joel Embiid, rightfully so or not, on the bench would be real bad for Steve Kerr. It'd be a bad look, and it could potentially poison the team. And Joel Embiid did make some choices that he didn't have to make. He could have played with France. He definitely would have helped France's team. And maybe that would have hurt USA. So I think it's admirable that his desire said he wanted to play for USA. But you have a responsibility to go out and play your best. He's not playing his best right now. He's not. And that's on him. But I like how Steve Kerr has handled this situation because it could get ugly. And it says to me that he knows what type of person he has in Anthony Davis. And Eric Spoelstra's there, so he got banned, right? So at the end of the day, we want to see everybody with a gold medal around their necks, but this is not easy. This is tough business. And these games matter. This is part of the narrative. You think LeBron doesn't have his TV crew with him? You know, you think Stephen Curry doesn't want to submit his out-of-worldly career by winning a gold medal, the last thing that he hasn't done? This is more than a game, folks. I'm so hyped to watch this dream team play. We got a great mix of Hall of Famers and young superstars. Let's get that goal. Keys, I'm right with you. Embiid should have played for Cameroon or France. You look too slow. Well, he would have helped France. Cameroon, come on. They would have got waxed. They wouldn't even qualify. You know that. Steve-O! Where can I find the Olympic basketball bracket? I don't know. Google? Somewhere? ESPN might have it. I think if you go to olympicsports.com, I mean, you got to be able to find it online. But if you ask a question, I might know the answer. I mean, you know the United States bracket, right? South Sudan, Serbia, USA, and I think, I don't know. I was going to say Puerto Rico, but I think it's Puerto Rico, but I might be wrong. The USA is the best team. They cannot relax one bit. I think Steve Kerr expressed to them how important these games are before the start of this game, and he I'm sure he relied on his veterans. But if you're a coach and you got LeBron on your team, this iteration, this version of LeBron James looks more like Magic Johnson now than he ever has. This is Magic Johnson, literally year 2, 3. Magic won a championship in his rookie year as a 19, 20-year-old. But you see the poise being exhibited by LeBron through your television screen. That was Magic Johnson his entire career. Throughout his 20s. When everything's got a little out of whack, Magic just calmed things down. Just like LeBron. Now they do it differently. Magic didn't fly through the air and, he wasn't out on the break getting a whole lot of steals. But on the offensive end, half-court execution, there's never been a player, a point guard who was better than Magic Johnson. Never. And good luck finding somebody. With that said, Kevin Durant made 8 for 8 shots in the first half. Give him the ball, put the ball in his hands, and he did what he did. That was awesome. That was That might have been, what, top 3, top 5 Kevin Durant performances of all time? Because they needed that. The game was in the balance. I think it was. Tarantula is lethal. I got to watch that game again after the show, Frank. Oh, man. Watch the first half. Watch the whole game. But, I mean, that team dominated against a Serbian team that I think they're going to medal. You know, how many pros does Serbia have on that team? 6, 7 pros in the NBA? You know, they're good. And they got good coaching. They run continuity. And they got arguably the best player in the NBA on their team. And I thought USA did a good job playing against Jokic as well. So that was good. One of the things that's got in my craw, if you will, I never usually use that analogy. It didn't really, but I said that because it didn't really piss me off or upset me. But one of the things that got me thinking this week is the reaction from fans when NFL players get paid, particularly quarterbacks. Why is this? And it's interesting because the conversations are different depending upon the player. Jordan Love gets paid crazy money. I'm happy for him. Go out and produce. Tua, based off Tua's stats, he deserved the contract that he got. Now, in mere months, this Brock Purdy love affair is going to get interesting because the conversation around whether or not Brock Purdy is a good quarterback is dead. I mean, that's a ridiculous conversation to me. He clearly understands professional NFL football. Clearly, he's a good player. Luckily for him, he's playing in an organization that has superstars around him, and he has a superstar coach. All of those variables matter and have played a role in Brock Purdy's ascension. For those that don't want to acknowledge that, give me a break. It's ridiculous. I watched Brock Purdy play at least since he was a sophomore at Iowa State. Good player. But he's in the perfect environment. Can we acknowledge that? Now, Brock Purdy's going to break the bank. Hey, man. I think 50 to 55 million is right where they need to be, especially when you consider that the 49ers have other good players that they got to pay. Anything less than 50 million for Brock Purdy would be embarrassing based on what he's done, based on the market and all these other things that you look at when determining a quarterback salary. But does Brock Purdy need to be the next $60 million quarterback? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't think just because it's your turn and I don't agree with that. Now, I also don't think that you should be penny pinching players who have established themselves in the market. The fact that Brandon Ayuk isn't signed yet, to me, or traded, it's just a bad look. How's this going to end? They always talk about players don't have leverage. Players got leverage. Not as much as NBA players, but the superstar players in the NFL have leverage. Brandon Ayuk is showing up to practice, dressed every day, presumably been on time. He hasn't run one route. And what's happening in Dallas, listen, regardless of what happens in Dallas this year, I would love for Dak Prescott to go somewhere else. I would love it. Go to the Giants. Go to the Jets. Go somewhere else where you're loved. They don't love him. Jerry Jones, and all of his greatness, he sounds like a robber baron sometimes. You know? He sounds like a guy who has a hill of money, has everything that he needs, and he's not willing to look at the other side. It isn't like if he pays Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys are going to make any less money. They're not going to make less money. They're going to make more money. So for him to have the audacity to say, listen, your existence as a Dallas Cowboy is dependent upon you winning a Super Bowl. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Who else in the NFL is held to that standard? I'll wait. It's life can suck. You know, it's like Dak hasn't made a lot of money. I mean, put away your. I don't have a violin back here. No one else should take one out. But in terms of respect, the Dallas Cowboys paid Tony Romo. Oh, he's like a son to me. Oh, he's like a son. We love. Yeah. What did he do? He was a good quarterback. He's not a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Not even close. To me, I think Dak is being treated totally unfair based on what he's done. I'll go back to last year, the previous year. The guy who I learned the most about football from is Bill Parcells. Those games were not coached well. I don't want to come on every week and tell you that scenario when the Dallas Cowboys have the ball against the 49ers. It's almost halftime. They're already in field goal position. Dak throws a terrible out into the hands of a 49er DB. He runs it back down. Did the 49ers make a field goal or did they score a touchdown? I don't remember. But it was a horrible play. I guess that was the year before last, right? If Bill Parcells is coaching that team, he never throws that ball. Never. John Madden never throws that ball. Any other smart coach. Last year, when Dallas imploded against Green Bay, give Green Bay some credit, but his teammates did not help him at all. They did not. Part of CD Lamb's challenges, now wanting to be maybe one of the highest paid wide receivers in football, he doesn't make a lot of tough catches. One or two of those interceptions that Dak got, I didn't like CD's effort. I didn't. Was it a bad read by Dak? Yes. But CD Lamb, he's not Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin made every tough catch that he needed to make. Why do you think Troy Aikman showed up in the courtroom if Michael Irvin got in trouble or he needed his support? Troy Aikman was right there. Why? Because figuratively, Michael Irvin would die on the football field for Troy Aikman. It's the reason why Troy Aikman now is making $1 gazillion as a broadcaster. Because anytime he got in trouble and he wanted to throw the ball in the vicinity of Michael Irvin came down with the football. Reminiscent of Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, Jerry Rice and Steve Young. Listen, Jerry Rice was not only a guy who catch the ball on the outside, he went over the middle. He made tough catches. Remember a couple of catches, Jerry Rice literally grabbed the ball off the ground to run for 80-yard touchdowns. So this Dak Prescott, I watch football like everybody else listening to this program now. Everybody has to be accountable. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Sometimes Ben Roethlisberger's first Super Bowl win, he was barely at the party. It's not all on Dak. It's not all on Dak. Cowboys have made some mistakes in terms of personnel. They haven't coached as well as they need to coach. And I'm not even a Cowboy fan. I'm not a Cowboy hater. I like the blue. I like Zeke Elliott coming back. I like their players. I'm not in love with their management style. Can't put a price tag on winning. Purdy is a proven winner. Pay the man SAP. I'm with you. Do you think he needs $60 million a year? I don't think so. 50 to 55 like everybody else. I'm good with that. Dak's comments to the media was interesting this week. What were they? I missed his comments. Help me out. I'm going to say it. I want to be here. Oh, but when you look up all the great quarterbacks I've watched, they played for other teams. Wow. Partly true. Not Troy Aikman, but Joe Montana didn't finish his career as a 49er, did he? No, he didn't. I think, you ever been in a relationship where things are not going great? You know, the emotions are still there. You love the person, but things are not going great. And both people can kind of feel it, but you're hanging in there and you hope that you can mend those fences. But emotionally, you're already starting to see yourself out of that relationship. That's Dak Prescott talking to the press this week. He's already preparing himself to be in Dallas or not be in Dallas. And that's kind of, in this era of professional sports, that's kind of how you have to have that mentality. Kirk Cousins probably could win Humanitarian of the Year every year. That dude is worried about the bag. Wherever the money is the biggest, amongst some other little things, but really about the money, Kirk Cousins going where the money is. You got to have that mentality. Fans don't always get that. I listen to a lot of talk shows. I watch a lot of stuff online. And I'm just amazed by some 49er fans. If anybody has let you know this about the money, it's Trent Williams. Trent Williams is like, hello? I'm not the highest paid offensive lineman anymore. I'm a 6. And yet I'm still ranked as the best offensive lineman in all of football. You know, people, well, how many times we got to go through this? I'm tired of this. He got a contract. Wait, last time I checked, those contracts are not guaranteed. The 49ers could knock on Trent Williams' door at any second and tell him, hey, Trent, thank you. You know, we love you, but we're going to go in a different direction. So what is he doing? He's doing his job well on the field, and he's treating this like it should be treated, a business. And it's up to the 49ers to find a way to get it done. Can you even conceive how much money the 49ers make with these owner-negotiated salary caps? Are you out of your mind? You know how underpaid football players are? It's insane how underpaid NFL football players are versus what owners make and the earning potential of this ginormous sports entity. If you are a player in the NFL and you're not focused on making as much money as you can, you're not very smart when it comes to math. You might be a heart surgeon. You might be brilliant in so many other ways. But when it comes to football math, you're not very smart. If the salary cap goes up big, or goes up big time, and Purdy puts up MVP type numbers and gets us to the Super Bowl, then yes, price will be $60 million, I believe. It's a good point. Purdy will be more accomplished than the bums getting the $55 million a year. Yeah, you're right. But does he have to make $60 million a year? No, he doesn't. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm not comparing. A lot of this money is guaranteed money, but it's not quite oranges versus oranges. But over the past couple of weeks, and I've mentioned it before on the show, this eyebrow raising of Jalen Brunson leaving, quote, $100 million on the table, to sign a $156 million contract after already making $100 million in the current contract is insane. Like he's never going to, like he can't buy any car, any house. I mean, come on, man. And here's where logic comes in. If Jalen Brunson does not take that salary hit, Mikal Bridges is not on the team. The Knicks are not pursuing Mikal Bridges if Jalen Brunson has not already told them that he was going to take a pay cut. And guess what? Mikal Bridges, he'll probably be the highest paid. Maybe he wants to make what OG makes, but he's not going to be among the highest paid players in the NBA. He might not even make $200 million, which is crazy. We're talking about these numbers. But my point is, sometimes players see the big picture. If I'm Brock Purdy, because it's all about the guaranteed money anyway. If I can make $55 million a year, even 60, because 60 might be equivalent to 75 in a couple of years. If somebody really wants to go for the money and they have the credentials and they've won, then they can make all that kind of money. But as long as you have a salary cap, even with this going up, there's going to be constraints. There's going to be cost-cutting measures that impact the team. If I'm Brock Purdy, be it Trent Williams or whomever, I want the best left tackle in the game on my team. Even if I got to give up $5 million a year, I want that guy on my team. I want to be able to hand the ball to a Christian McCaffrey types. So, people sometimes see the big picture in sacrificing. That's all I'm saying. AB, evening, Fred. What's up, bro? Where do the Warriors currently stand in the trade market? I don't think there are any trades out there outside of the Larry marketing deal. The players that the Warriors are offering Utah, they don't want. And thankfully, the Golden State Warriors have an owner who knows basketball. He's not just a fan owner. He knows basketball. I think Draymond would be expendable. If the Warriors acquired marketing and it didn't work out, obviously Draymond would be the guy to go. And if you hear Draymond talk, it's almost like Draymond already expects that something might happen. I don't think he's wishing for it, but if he got traded, I don't think he'd be surprised. There's no guarantee that a marketing Draymond partnership would work. It's interesting, but there's no guarantee that it would work. I would try it for the right price. I mean, what team would not want to have a guy with his credentials and his talent? But that would also mean that probably at some point, Jonathan Kuminga is going to be traded. You know, so it comes down to those guys. Do you want Jonathan Kuminga or do you want Lauri Markkanen? I would rather have Jonathan Kuminga because I've seen him up close and personal for 3 years. I haven't seen Lauri Markkanen play every day within my organization. I have not. Is he talented? Yes, he is very talented. But that's it. The Warriors are solid in the backcourt. I think they're solid in the front court. They're keeping Wiggins. You got Kuminga. I don't think anybody's counting on him, but even Kevin Knox Jr. is interesting. You know? We don't know how good he is. This guy was a 9th pick overall. We don't know how good he is. He could be, one of those guys that the Warriors sign that come in and gives them 10, 12 minutes a game. We don't know. Keith says, I hope Purdy takes a team-friendly deal. We need to surround him with talent, like all the other good quarterbacks. I totally agree with you. Anything under 50 would be disrespectful. And he's not going to get disrespected by the 49ers. But $55 million? It's not a bad decision when you look at the big picture. Tom Brady was quoted over the past week talking about the money that he's made in his career and how he tries to espouse that type of knowledge to younger players. He's like, yo, I took less money because I knew at the end of the day, I was going to make a good $1 zillion. I wasn't focused on how much money I could make at that particular moment. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, about Tom Brady. But he said it perfectly. He was like, all I needed to do was play good football. If I play good football, I'm going to have more money than I'll ever need in my life. And he was exactly right. He was exactly right. So I don't know. I think the fans and some of the, people who do this for a living, they get geeked up on, he's next in line and he's, hey, it doesn't really matter. If Jordan Love doesn't play really good football with all that money, I think he got 175 guaranteed. It's going to really suck for him, for the organization. It's going to be all bad. I don't think anybody can set you up by giving you $175 million, but I hope it works out. I hope it works out for Jordan Love. And he was honoring. He was like, yo, I'm not getting on the field until my contract is solved. Grand Admiral, how you doing, brother? Thank you. I'm just a fan of sports, man. That's all. And I also know that playing on good teams matters. When you play on a bunch of bad teams, people forget about you. I'm concerned about Jordan Poole right now. Now, Jordan Poole, the last 15 games of the year as a Washington Wizard, he actually played pretty good basketball. After being benched, he looked similar to the Jordan Poole that we saw at his best as a Warrior. But when you're playing a lot of bad teams and you have that losing culture, I mean, I'm the biggest Bryce Young fan in the world. And there are people who I respect, who I've learned from, who have already buried this guy. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know what he was working with last year? Presumably this year? I mean, how could you like just throw this guy to the scraps based on what we've seen from him? These are similar conversations that people had about Tua. Early in Tua's NFL career, yeah, he got hurt a couple of times, but I'm like, did you watch this guy at Alabama? Well, look at the stats, and I that's why I don't live at the church of sports stats. I don't. I acknowledge that stats play a role in the conversation, in the evaluation, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you must have knowledge and intellect and stats, and you synthesize all of that information and you draw a conclusion. That's intelligence. Underneath my statements now, I'm thinking about the New York Giants. A team that I like. Willington Mara went to my alma mater. John Mara, you see him now, his pops went to Fordham. You should come to our basketball games. Do you know how upset I still am to see Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia green? I like the Eagles, but you're going to tell me that you're going to lose Saquon Barkley over $1 million or $2 million? What? Insane. Insane. That was nuts. We can't pay that? Yes, you can. Well, we can't go that high. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. The Giants got in their feelings. That's what happened. They got into their feelings and they had to win. And having to win, they lost. Focusing on that, you think Brian Gable really doesn't want to line up with Saquon Barkley? I like Brian Gable too. I thought he was a firecracker. You know what I'm saying? But he's my type of coach. He's a real dude. He's a real dude. I love it. Guys who look like Brian Gable Brian Gable usually don't become NFL coaches. This dude had to grind his way to the top. He worked for Nick Saban. That's all you need to know. Prospered in Buffalo. I like him as a coach. But he got to play the game too. You think he don't want Saquon Barkley on that team? Please. The business of football and the business of sports sometimes makes me care less about it. It takes the fun out of it because I'm aware of everything. I don't like that. Aaron says, "What's up, Greg? What up? Is this the last year the window is open for the Niners?" Answer in a second. Giants penny pitching. Their best and most popular player makes no sense. No, it doesn't. And I mean, the general manager, you watch Hard Knocks in season, has a great looking family. cute kids, supportive wife, and they play games. And I'm saying to myself, if this doesn't go well, this guy will get fired. I mean, you see the Mara. I don't know, is his name John Mara, maybe. I mean, you see him with that pensive look on his face in the general manager's office, just kind of standing there like this. And then he'll turn around and just kind of walk out. Well, hope things work out. If it doesn't, that's your ass. That's what he said down the hallway. I mean, Saquon Barkley was born to be a New York Giant. All of their great players have a certain savoir-faire, ambiance about them. Frank Gifford, Phil Simms, Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, Phil McConkey. I can't think of his name right now. Even the wide receiver from De La Salle, who played for the Giants. He's working for the Giants. Great organization. Let's go back to this. I think not. 49ers are a good organization, one of the best. They have one of the best general managers. I don't particularly, and I guess a lot of times it's really not about Lynch and the contracts, from what I understand, listening to, some of the podcasts, the Krug shows of the world, and some others that really are in the inside, and they know who's negotiating the contracts and so on and so forth. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what their roles are. Those are the bean counters, the people who are synthesizing the salary cap. But John Lynch is a face. I like how they evaluate players. That's why the Niners are good. They know how to evaluate. Mafunga in the fourth round. Ayuk late in the first round. Debo, what? A second round pick? Third round pick? Purdy, seventh? I mean, come on, man. Come on. That's how you win. That's why the Steelers have been good historically, because they know how to evaluate. The Baltimore Ravens, they know how to evaluate. Coaching matters. Coaching really does matter. So no, I don't think this is the last chance for the Giants. I think that they might be a little different because they might be tired of, Trent Williams knocking on their door or some other player. But they're going to be good. As long as they have Shanahan and they have John Lynch there, then I think they'll be fine. Writing on the wall, no players. He cloned. Help me out with that. I'm not quite sure where you're going with that. Help me out. Here's another great Giant, Leonard Marshall. Yes, he was. 3-4 technique, getting it done for Parcells. Joe Morris, another one. So many great players of my childhood that I grew up watching. Let me recap. USA Basketball men's, led by Kevin Durant and LeBron James, took care of Serbia 110-84, and they did it in dominating fashion after getting off to a poor start. They were down 10-2. Steve Kerr calls timeout, picks the guys up, takes out Joel Embiid, inserts Anthony Davis, and the rest is history. LeBron kind of took control. Curry hit some timely threes. Anthony Edwards made some timely threes. Devin Booker had a really good game. Yeah, man. I like what I saw from them. I'm also giving the San Francisco Giants, some props I'm not going to jump on board and act like I've been following this team the whole year, because I have not. I've been on the periphery. The biggest narrative concerning the Giants is this Farhan deal. People hate the guy. And I get it. I mean, it's not like they have superstars, a lot of superstar everyday players. But apparently it's hard to get people to come to San Francisco. It's not as easy as I think people might think it is. So what that means to me, I mean, I've been watching the Giants for decades. The Giants, for whatever reason, in their scouting, has never produced the type of everyday players that I like. They don't go for those guys. They just don't. They do a good job evaluating pitchers. You know, they obviously did a great job evaluating Posey, who became a Hall of Famer, a future Hall of Famer. But they don't draft the players that I like the Oakland A's of the world, the Atlanta Braves of the world. Players look different. More suburban, clean cut. I want to see some guys with some attitude. Brandon Crawford was an exception. He came from the Bay, had that swag. But they generally don't draft players like that. That frustrates me. But they do a good job drafting pitchers. They do. Who's the biggest threat to Team USA? There's several. The Serbian team that they beat by 26 today, if they went out, I would think they could maybe still make it to the championship. It'd be a lot harder. Germany is really good. Offensively, they could give them some problems. France, France, Serbia, Germany, I think are the teams that could give USA some problems. It's not inconceivable for Wembanyama to score 30 against USA. This dude is a freak. This dude is a straight up freak. He's just getting started. So, France, Germany, Serbia. I want to see USA take on South Sudan on Wednesday, because they were embarrassed by that 1-point win. And I'm glad they won, but they want to take it to South Sudan, which is a win for South Sudan. They've already won the figurative gold medal. This is a team that don't have outdoor courts. I'm sorry. This is a team that does not have indoor courts. And you see what Luau Deng and some others have done for this organization already. It's pretty impressive. But I think USA going to put it on them on Wednesday. But look out, because I was watching a video on YouTube last night, because I've been studying the African Basketball League, the NBA of Africa, if you will. And there's some political things happening around who's supporting that organization and how that is intertwined with politics. It's just really interesting stuff. If you have time, you're interested in, look at the development of NBA Africa, because the reason why the NBA is involved in it, and a lot of bigwigs are, is because it's a straight up moneymaker. The talent is there. And if you got a piece of that pie early on, you might turn your head about some of the political things that you may or may not agree with, because that's going to be a moneymaker. Even on South Sudan, Monarch, they have a 7'1" freshman, a 7'1" player who's like 18 years old, who's going to go to Duke, a future pro. There's going to come a time in which some of those players are going to choose to stay in Africa. Not because they can't play in the NBA, because they'd rather play in their homeland. And the dollars and the eyeballs and everything else associated with that league is going to go up. You know, it's amazing what the potential lies for NBA Africa. Big time stuff. Also want to give our USA women's soccer team some love because they got beat up pretty bad in the World Cup. And you know, I thought the commentators were a little harsh on them. They got a new coach now, I guess Emma Hayes, and it's good to see these young ladies really starting to make a name for themselves. Sophia Smith, former Stanford player. They got several Stanford players on their team, but I like Sophia Smith. I like Trinity Rodman. I also like Garmer, the defensive player on the women's team, another Stanford player. I think she's from the South Bay. She's awesome. She never makes a mistake. Never. So this is a very talented team. I don't know if they're going to win the gold medal or not, but I think it sets up well for 2028 in Los Angeles. That's going to be pretty big. Now, there was some controversy around the opening of the Olympics. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. You're watching closely, but the synchronicity of it all, I thought was unbelievable. USA has their work cut out for them. That thing was well planned. I'm not saying that it went totally right, because it clearly didn't. And I guess for whatever religious reasons, it was offensive to some people. I don't know why. I wasn't watching that closely. But the coordination of it all, I thought was fantastic. I thought it was a spectacle. Very, very impressive. And they all are really good. I guess Tokyo was good. I thought that was really good. So I'm expecting the USA to pull out all stops to make the 28 Olympics something that we've never seen before. We're certainly going to have the athletes, but I think it's going to be a spectacle. And being in such close proximity, I was thinking about this today. Being in close proximity, I would love to see something, you know, so start planning now. All right, y'all. I think that's going to be it. I also wanted to highlight my man Corday, one of the hot rappers in the game right now, one of the best rappers of his generation. And the young lady who he had a relationship with, I don't know if he still does, is Osaka, the tennis player. I couldn't think of her name last week, but Corday and Osaka actually had a child together. So that's pretty cool. But in terms of the art, in terms of hip hop, 2024 has been a great year for hip hop music for a lot of different reasons. If you like the beefs between Drake and Kendrick, if you like old school rappers stepping up, you know, to put out really good music like Pete Rock and Common, you got guys like Corday, who's ready to ascend, I think, to a really high level. That's cool. And then many other stories as well. The anti-canceling of Kanye West, they tried to, quietly, you guys have noticed how Kanye's music has continually gotten more prevalent in the consciousness of music fans. Yeah, I thought that was interesting also. So it's been a good year for the rise of hip hop music. I don't know about other forms of music. I can think of some I'm not going to mention right now. But from a hip hop perspective, as a rapper myself, I think it's been pretty cool. Ron C, what's up? Do you think? Let me put my glass on. I can see this. Do you think of head? Well, okay. Do you think of head coaches doing the game interviews? Okay. What do you think of head coaches doing in-game interviews? Doesn't bother me. Actually, I think I like it. They become anti-Popovich, where they know they got to be nice because it affects their brand. I don't have a problem with it. I also like assistant coaches doing interviews during the game, or either coming back from halftime. And I'm gonna tell you why. And it's interesting because this question. Oh, okay. NFL head coaches. If they got insight, if they got something to say, it doesn't bother me. But I think that's life. I think NFL head coaches doing in-game interviews is less likely to happen on a broad scale because one play that they are away from the action, unless it's taped, could determine the outcome. So it doesn't bother me. I think what's equally important are the questions being asked of the coaches. So a coach doing an interview that doesn't give me anything, I'm not too interested in hearing that because I can figure things out on my own. But some insight about football that's going to educate me. Ron C says they're doing it this year. Okay, cool. I would love to hear Kyle Shanahan talk about a play that either worked or didn't work. So I think it comes down to the coaches. I think if the coaches have something interesting to say and they're articulate, I would love to hear it. But it can be really bad too. You can hear some F-bombs coming out and we don't know what the hell is going to happen. But you telling me you wouldn't want to hear John Gruden doing an in-game interview? I would love that. You guys saw Deshaun Foster presser at the I guess Big Ten Media Day. Now, a guy who I think is really damn good, who is, that sounds really weird. A guy who I respect and I think is excellent in this content space is Marcellus Wiley. And I watch his podcast when it comes up on my reel. I don't think I subscribe to it, but I do watch it and I do appreciate a lot of the things that he has to say. But he said something that I don't agree with. He said that the press conference of the head coach doesn't really matter. Oh, I think it does matter. Because in Deshaun Foster's, 1 minute pause fest interview was kind of a bad look. Definitely dubious, and some might say ominous. I think it matters. I think if you have some gift to gab as a head coach, that's probably the reason why you got the job, unless you got the ultimate hookup. When you are in those interview sessions, you got to sell yourself. You got to make them believe. You got to make them see something that they didn't see before. And I think that translates to press conferences. People talk about how goofy and hokey Jim Harbaugh is. I love Jim Harbaugh talking into a microphone. You never know what you're going to hear. Never. And every now and then, guess what? He gives you a nugget about football that I learned something. So if coaches are doing in-game interviews this year, it's going to be hit and miss because everybody's not the same. But I'm interested in hearing colorful, interesting, sophisticated, off-the-cuff analysis by coaches. So yeah, I like that. All right. I keep saying this. I don't do a great job marketing my show. I got to do better at that. But hopefully you hit the like button and you subscribed. I went down a rabbit hole over the past couple of days just learning about marketing online and learning about this platform that I'm actually using. There's a lot more that I can do with this platform that I'm using that I've done in the past. So I'm gonna try to step my game up. But in the meantime, hit the subscribe button, tell people about the show if you like it, and hit the like button because it really does help. We're in this tech age where algorithms and technology really does move the needle, no doubt. My man Key says, excuse me, that interview was like seeing a deer in the headlights, unprepared or nervous. Yeah, let's go with nervous. To think that this guy who had a decent NFL career, apparently has been a pretty good running backs coach, to think that he wouldn't be prepared for for the opportunity of a lifetime is shocking and surprising. Keys is referencing Deshaun Foster's interview at Big Ten Media Day. Now, maybe he had a bad moment, want to get away, maybe he had one of those want to get away moments. And I'm willing to give him a pass if that was it. He's going to have a hell of a lot more press conferences that he's going to have to articulate himself and be engaging. It's not brain surgery, practice. Not a game, practice. You know how many times I've done complete shows in my car? If I'm driving an hour, I'll talk to myself for an hour. Get myself hyped up to do a show. It matters. Practice matters. The more prepared you are in anything in life, I think the better you're going to do. And one of the things about learning is that there's a lot of different learning modalities, right? Everybody doesn't learn the same. Some people can read something and memorize it and be able to regurgitate it just like they read it or how it's supposed to happen. I'm not that way. I'm a kinesthetic learner, and I learn by doing. That's kinesthetic, but I also learn by writing things down. When I write something down, like I write a script, every show that I do, I write down everything. I research it, and guess what? Those stats become stuck in my brain. So I don't even have to refer to the stats that I looked up, the information. But I know that is a way that I learn best. So what does that mean? You got to do your work. You got to do your homework. You can't show up and wing it. So I'm happy that Deshaun got the opportunity at UCLA. Based off that interview, I would be a little worried. Not a lot, but I would be a little worried. This is your first press conference? So I wish the brother all the best. Key says that interview was like, okay, I'll put that out there. All right, y'all. Hit the like button again. Subscribe to the program if you like it. My name is Frank Red. If you're watching for the first time, I really appreciate you. I do. Appreciate you for checking us out. And I'll jump back in midweek because probably on Wednesday because USA plays South Sudan. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And our women basketball players and all the sports. Hopefully it wasn't somebody out there tonight listening to the program who wanted to talk about a sport that I didn't bring to the surface and didn't voice their comments in the comment section, because this is an open forum for everything. All right. SG says, when analyzing the 49ers 2014 schedule, which games are you looking forward to watching? I generally don't look at schedules. I look at opponents. Everybody, because everybody can beat you. I guess they play the Jets the first game. I'm looking forward to that game. So, I don't break the schedule down for 3 hours and beat that into the ground. That's not my style. Every game in the NFL is important. So I like watching bad teams to see if they get better. I want to see if Bryce Young can make some strides off of what was a horrible rookie year. I want to see that. Ron C. Thanks, Frank. Great show. Hit that like button, brother. Hit the subscribe, man. Thanks, Frank. Great show. Thank you. Everybody, saying great show. I appreciate y'all. All right, I'm going to do my thing, get out of here. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you're the individual, don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right. Everybody be safe. Follow me at Big Frank Red is on the screen on X, Twitter. Subscribe to the show if you like it and hit the like button. SG, I just read your comments, and reach out to me. Maybe we can do something. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.